Anyone looking to walk a non-traditional path in life gets questioned. Whether it's someone looking to leave their corporate position to start their own business, or simply a person whose choice of hobbies and activities outside of work falls outside the Overton window of acceptable ways for an adult to spend their free time. This questioning is often the death knell for the closeted creative. Every time someone starts to ask, well, what are your plans? What are your dreams? What are your goals? They know the next thing that's coming is a pregnant pause, followed by, that's a 1 in a million shot. So little by little, we whittle down our aspirations so they'll be small enough to fit inside the box drawn by others, until hardly anything remains. Writers hear this more than most. Should one express aspirations to become a successful columnist, a published author, or simply someone who sustains themselves on their writing, they know they're going to hear the classic refrain. That's a 1 in a million shot. I'm here to say that's nonsense. And even if it weren't, you should still go for it anyway, because interesting things are bound to happen along the way if you pursue your dreams. Bringing up a likelihood ratio or statistic without any control to compare it to is meaningless and actively disingenuous. Now, obviously, when people say 1 in a million, there's a 1 in a million chance, you got a 1 in a million shot, they're not actually attempting to reference a body of knowledge, a corpus of literature, or quote a stat at you. What they're really saying is, that's very unlikely to happen. My question is, very unlikely compared to what exactly? Many, if not most people who graduate with a college degree don't end up ultimately doing what they went to school for in the first place. How many college professors would stand up on stage in the lecture hall on the first day of freshman year and tell their students, very few of you are unlikely to make it? Is it a failing or a failure that most of these people won't go on to do whatever they majored in for the rest of their lives? This kind of scrutiny is typically only reserved for those whose path through life looks different than those surrounding them, making them an easy and convenient target for unthinking criticism. It's completely fair to keep the odds in mind when undertaking a long-term goal. But if that's going to be the beating heart in the argument against coloring outside the lines, then let's make sure we apply that critique in both directions. The truth is, the odds typically aren't nearly as long as they seem to be on first glance. As one example, people love to tell aspiring podcasters that it's too late to get into the game. You should have moved earlier. The market is saturated at this point. You'll never get through. There's a database called Podcast Index that keeps track of such things. That'll be useful for me to make my point here. At time of this recording, Podcast Index had 4,123,572 shows in its database. Of these, only 492,644 have published an episode in the last 90 days. 435,732 shows have put out content in the last 60 days. And only 351,239 shows have uploaded within the last 30 days. All I did was click to the homepage of a single database, and already we've eliminated 90% of the supposed competition. That's one example and one statistic from one database. But if you look closely enough, you'll see the same pattern repeat itself in other fields as well. Few people have ever stepped off the bench and entered the arena. Fewer still have done so consistently. And even fewer than that have done so in a way where they're making earnest, high-quality attempts to continuously improve their craft. The sad reality is, not many people make it because not many people really try. The odds may seem steep, the road long, and the path unforgiving. I submit to you that what seems impossible is actually quite possible if you begin at the beginning and then don't stop.